One of the most interesting parts of the show for me was when John Cena used his match with Orton as a platform to close that chapter in WWE and open another. He cut a promo backstage acknowledging a changing of the guard, calling on the future stars to step up and naming himself as the gatekeeper to the promised land of WWE. If they have what it takes to carry the future, they'll have to go through him first. Was this a one-off thing, or could this ushering in of a new era actually be adopted as a real thing?
Well, at the very least, I would like to see this from John Cena. I love when he acknowledges his spot, like the whole idea of I'm number one, I don't care who you are, I'm going to stay number one. Because I don't like that whole John Cena of, oh, Ryback, I'm going to give you my title shot because it's your time. Or Daniel Bryan, let's elevate you. I like the idea of your number one guy doing everything in his power to stay number one. So that was definitely cool to see from me, was John Cena be like, look, I'm at the top and I'm going to stay that way. So if we at least can get that from John Cena, I think we'll have a good John Cena. As far as the new era guys, it would be interesting to see how they play into that in the future. Obviously, not everybody's going to start feuding and beating John Cena, but we'll see how they somehow find a way to make that promo matter, or if it's just a one-off thing. So it was definitely an interesting promo. It was definitely one that I would consider to be one of the better ones of the night. Definitely got you thinking a little bit, and we'll see where we move forward.
Yeah, I like the promo a lot. It's just thinking about the realistic implications of that promo. I don't know who would be able to realistically take his spot, but I guess I'll stick with kayfabe on this one. I like the promo. It was good. I thought it was pretty cool. And thank God we didn't get any smiling and pandering.
Immediately after that promo, I started thinking about, first of all, I saw the match with Randy Orton, and I was like, damn, John Cena does look kind of old now. Just in my eyes, for some reason, I don't know.
He has a bald spot. Did you see it?
Yeah. It's crazy how long he's been here, and it doesn't even seem like it. But anyway, I started immediately reflecting on John Cena's place in the WWE and what he has meant to the company. And I've definitely grown sour on his character over the past few years, but he has done so much to benefit the company both in and out of the ring. He's been the face of the company on pretty okay matches, I guess, but he's definitely grown the fan base and has done so much to reach out to the Make-A-Wish Foundation and has done so many things, and I don't know that anyone will be able to replace him to that degree. In the ring, we'll see, but outside of the ring, I think he's probably, I want to say, the most active and charitable superstar that we've ever seen.
First off, let me say, great promo from Cena. I absolutely loved it. But the question is, does it mean anything? And my answer, I damn sure hope so, because due to extenuating circumstances, we have a few spots at the top of the card waiting to be filled, and I'm sure we have a ton of guys hungry for an opportunity to be one of the ones to fill them. There's great up-and-coming talent that's just waiting to be acknowledged and receive that backing from creative that can turn them into bona fide stars. And we're at a point right now where WWE is finally starting to catch on with the crowd, and they may be tardy for the party, but they're here now, so let's just get this show on the road. They don't have that luxury anymore of just sitting back and maintaining the status quo, and I don't even understand why they would have wanted to do that in the first place, or why they thought that was acceptable. But whatever, you put in a lot of work into building up that roster. Now it's time to do something with it. And with that being said, let the speculation begin as to who are going to be those people to step up and lead us into the future. Cena specifically mentioned the Wyatt family, The Shield, Daniel Bryan, and Antonio Cesaro. But who are your picks?
I guess we'll start with the idea of The Shield. But more importantly, we start with the only one of The Shield, which would be Roman Reigns. I think the WWE, he's got everything that they want to market, and he's also improving massively in the ring. Promos they're short and to the point, which kind of works for him now. We'll see if he can kind of improve on that and see how, if he's going to go short and to the point, see how he continues to kind of mix it up in that sense to kind of make it so people care. But people just kind of care about his presence, which I think can carry him. Antonio Cesaro, I think the dude is could be something big. People have a likability to him. He's great in the ring. I think he can bring it. I think he can be not the carrying the company, even though he's probably strong enough to do it, but that's beside the point. He could be the thank you. He could be the guy who's kind of like that. He's going to be a main eventer. He could definitely fill like a Randy Orton, like a little bit underneath what Randy Orton kind of is, which isn't like the face of the company, but he's a constant kind of main eventer. You know, always in the kind of world title picture. I think he can definitely fill that role. With the Wyatt family, it's kind of hard because I don't know if Bray Wyatt's gimmick is going to carry him to the main event. I just don't know if that's going to work for him. With the other two members of the Shield, it's just a matter of can they connect with the crowd. I am honestly afraid for Dean Ambrose in the sense that I don't know if he's going to click with I don't know if they're going to care when he's not in the when he's not in the Shield. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, Roman Reigns, Antonio Cesaro, main eventers to me.
I want to say, disregarding the last few months of WWE programming right now, I'd say these are some very exciting times to be a WWE fan. We got a lot of new guys coming in. I totally agree with Antonio Cesaro. Since his U.S. title run, he won me over, man. That guy is absolutely amazing. One of the best wrestlers in the company right now. Some people I hear don't like the Cesaro swing. I don't care. I say he keeps it. It's awesome seeing him do it. He can literally do it to just about anyone. The only person I haven't seen him do it to yet, he probably has done it, is Mark Henry. I'd like to see what he could do with that. But he's done it to like Khali. I think he did it to Big Show. Guy's absolutely incredible, man. But yeah, he's one guy I see carrying the company. I totally see him in a Randy Orton role. They could definitely pull that off with him. He's tall. He has the look that they want. He's in shape. He's pretty young, I think. So he's definitely good.
Fun fact, he's the same age as Randy Orton.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm weird. I think 34 is old, but
of course, ageist.
Yeah. I don't like old people. No, I'm kidding. I like old people. But anyway, another guy I see coming in, obviously, well, I should say guys, the Shield. I think that Dean Ambrose, if given the potential, could be an amazing heel. He has the mic work for it. The only thing I'm concerned for is the look. And I know this is going to contradict what I said earlier about size, but that guy looks like a nerd without his Shield attire. If you see him in just his underwear, he looks like literally somebody right out of the crowd.
Don't call it underwear.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It looks like underwear. That's what I used to call it when I was younger. But he looks like a geek. Like literally, he looks like a dork. So I'm worried about him. Seth Rollins. It's really amazing how, a few months earlier, Charlie would have said that he'd been worried about Seth Rollins, but now that he's saying about Dean Ambrose, it's just a testament to what's been going on lately with the Shield. I see Seth Rollins as the Jeff Hardy type of guy. It's going to take him a while to win the world title, but eventually when he does it, he's going to be massive.
Except he's never going to be the second most over guy in the company.
You never know. But I see him, if he brings that moshing gimmick back like Brandon was talking about, I think that he's going to be very popular. Roman Reigns, though, he is the prodigy of the group. Everybody's saying, he is going to be the man. I'm not going to just say he's going to be the dude just yet, because you never know what's going to happen with the WWE, because everybody was so sure, well, this is me and my friends were so sure that Bobby Lashley was going to be huge, and that guy sucked. I'm not saying Roman Reigns is bad. Yeah, I'm not saying that he's worse, but you have to be careful when you say who's going to be the next big guy.
Well, the only thing holding him back is going to be if the WWE Vince decides to give him jungle music and a Samoan gimmick. That's the litmus test.
I'm also concerned about the idea of him walking out barefoot to jungle music and leopard skin tights. That scares me, and it really there's a strong possibility that might happen. As long as they don't do that, I think that he'll be okay. He needs to work on his mic work a little bit more, but as long as he's able to get his point across, I think it's okay. You don't have to be able to act like, who's a great actor? Christian Bale. You don't have to put on a Christian Bale performance to be an over wrestler. As long as he gets his point across, he'll be good. Just like, Undertaker doesn't necessarily have to put on great mic performances, but people love him. Anyway, if Dolph Ziggler could keep his mouth shut, I think that he'd be a cool guy. Well, this is just wishful thinking. And obviously Daniel Bryan. No matter what they throw at him, he's gonna be one of the most over guys in the company. So those are my people.
Let me first say, if Cesaro does the Cesaro swing to Mark Henry, you could go ahead and stick him in the main event scene right now. I think Daniel Bryan is one of the guys one of the guys that the WWE will look toward to carry the future. But I fully expect Roman Reigns to beat Cena for the title at SummerSlam. I mean, you can visually just look at the guy and
Don't tease me like that, man.
Jesus, man, Cena's losing to everybody at SummerSlam the last few years.
Roman Reigns is so unique. He's one of the guys that you could just look at and see star potential, as opposed to some of the guys that we've seen in the past few years. We've seen like Wade Barrett and Sheamus and The Miz and guys like that who you looked at as they can maybe do something, maybe they're good enough to push forward and win a couple titles or whatever. But Roman Reigns, you look at him, he is that guy. I think he's ready for the main event scene. I think he's ready to carry the company.
I honestly see it for every guy Cena named. You have Bray Wyatt. He grows more impressive every time I see him. Daniel Bryan, of course, he's on his way right now. Arguably, some people would even say he's already there. And then you also have Cesaro. I've had my eye on that guy for a while, and I've just been waiting on him to impress me, and he has done so. And someone that Cena didn't mention, but I've been a fan of for years, Cody Rhodes. But I have to put the spotlight and the focus on one individual in particular, and that man is Roman friggin' Reigns. This guy is receiving the best booking by far out of anyone in the damn company. Take tying the Survivor Series elimination record, breaking the Royal Rumble elimination record, and so many other moments that have been crafted for him, and he's taken full grasp of all of them. Now, using the word perfect is fool's gold when it comes to professional wrestling, but the handling of him is about as close to that as humanly possible. And I'd say that this is a great example of how you should handle talent. Like, this is how it should be done. And I hate to use these two as examples because I honestly like both of them. But Dolph Ziggler and Kofi Kingston, they're the exact opposite. That's the case where you don't do it that way. Both of them have talent out of this friggin' world.
Well, the problem with Kofi is he's black. So.
But when you send guys out there with no purpose and no end game, it leads to meaningless matches, which leads to meaningless losses. But I mean meaningless as in they don't really add anything of substance to what's going on in the moment. But when you look at the overall picture, they actually do mean something, because when you throw all of these losses a superstar's way, their careers end up being defined by them. And there used to be a time back in the day where they actually gave a damn about the whole card. That gave Midcarders the opportunity to rack and stack achievements as they ascended their way to the top. People like Jeff Hardy, Edge, The Rock, Triple H, Stone Cold. You can throw a few more people in on that list. You can see the progression of their careers. They didn't just get the Intercontinental title for the hell of it. When they won a Midcard championship, it actually meant something. And then when they finally went on to win that first world championship, you were invested in those wins because you could sit back, reflect, and talk about how you remember this great match that they had, that great feud that they had. You can see the progression of their careers, and you feel as if you were a part of that evolution. And I think that's happening with Roman Reigns right now. He's being allowed that time to cultivate his talent, build a rapport with the fans, and even though it's working amazingly well, they're in no rush to throw the world title on him. But you can clearly see that they are thinking towards the future. And that's the key right there. Thinking towards the future, actually using some long-term planning. And it does have the potential to be a very bright future. He's entertaining as all hell. He has the look down pat. He legitimately comes off as a badass. He has a certain awareness that's displayed through his mannerisms that veterans in the business wish they had. And he has an already exciting moveset that he continues to add to on a weekly basis. Everything is firing on all cylinders for this dude, and I can't wait to see that moment where you know that switch is flipped on, where they're like, it's time.
That punch, though.
It's time to pull the trigger on this
the only thing
guy.
that scares me about him is the idea of him being a mid-card champion, and it's not necessarily him. It's just the people around him. Like, if he gets that title, it's like, okay, here we go. Here's the stepping stone. But when you say, guys going to have feuds in the mid-card, that means you're going to have two people there. So I'm afraid of him being, like, the only one and him walking around like Dean Ambrose, like, hello.
What if it's him and Ambrose, though?
That could work, but then it's a matter of, how quickly do you want him to drop the title? Do you want him to drop it to Ambrose? Do you have to put that off? That whole deal. So it's definitely interesting to see, like, who he would actually feud with, who he would actually lose the title to, because it's all going to be played in. And quite frankly, the U.S. title is probably the worst title they've ever had. So the idea of him getting that without it being unified with the IC title is pretty scary also.
I think that WWE believes that Roman Reigns is important enough that they're going to craft situations around him. They're going to make sure that there's no let up, or at least this is maybe wishful thinking on my part, because we have seen it before in the past where they like craft situations specifically for somebody. But do you think at this point Roman Reigns is, and I guess Charlie, you do believe so, that he's past the Midcard Championship? Because even though he isn't winning those titles, we do still have those moments that are building up our investment in who he is as a character. Like I said, the Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, the feud with The Undertaker, like so many other things where we are getting those moments from Roman Reigns.
See, that's the thing, is that I think if you do a match at WrestleMania with some star, like whether it be Triple H or somebody else, and you have him go over, I think you can build him to a point without ever having to have him touch those useless mid-card titles, that you're actually going to come out better. Because honestly, the Royal Rumble eliminations, beating a Triple H at WrestleMania, having the Survivor Series record are honestly more important than the titles, truthfully. The titles just don't mean anything, and the idea that I don't want Roman Reigns to become the guy like Biggie Langston who sits there and goes, I'm the IC champion and I'm on commentary for this number one contenders match 3 days before the pay-per-view, and then you have a match at pay-per-view where he wins in 5 minutes, and it's like, well, where are we going with this? So if they just continue on this path of just giving him stuff to do that's going to get him over and continue his progression, he doesn't ever have to touch those terrible titles they have sitting in the mid-card.
See, I think that his buildup is to that of a main eventer, but because he's never won a world title to this point, I think that he's not above the idea of him winning the IC championship. And to me, I think that you have a great opportunity here to use him to build back up the credibility of the IC title instead of putting it in a purgatory with Big E, Langston, and guys of that ilk.
See, but we've done that before, and it's failed. Like, I don't want this to become like about the title. Like, I want this to be Roman Reigns gets the title and it means something, not just like, oh yeah, the IC title looked important for like a few weeks, but then it just kind of fell back into hell.
Yeah, do we risk sacrificing a future main eventer just for the sake of those championships?
I think that the best way to do this is to take it slow and steady with Roman Reigns. You don't want to just push this guy. Even though he's over, you don't want to shove him down everyone's throats real quick, and then they're like, oh, I'm so sick of this guy. I don't want this guy to end up like Sheamus. I think Sheamus is a great wrestler, but it was too soon and too fast, and we're kind of seeing the effects of it. He's not as big as the push that he was given. So I think that Roman Reigns should have, I think, even though the titles don't really mean anything, just give him a U.S. title so it looks like he's doing something until the Royal Rumble, and then
See, that's the problem.
But I understand where Charlie is coming from, because basically throwing the title on that guy would just be keeping up appearances, look like he's doing something when he actually could be doing something. He doesn't have the title right now, and he is doing something.
They're not going to give this guy main attraction storylines week after week. I do not give them.
But they're not doing that now, and he's being built up perfectly. Like, he comes out, he does his one segment, he looks like a badass, and people love him. Like, we can continue that. I don't want him to be Dean Ambrose, where like, oh yeah, we gave him the title because the Shield was important, and we wanted the title to just kind of be on a guy. And now we're sitting here with the longest reigning champion in WWE, and nobody gives a flying fuck.
Yeah.
Fair point.
I want them to take it slow with him. I don't want them to just throw him in.
See,
there.
I do too, but it doesn't have to be like, oh, we're going to put this title on him just for the sake of putting this title on him. Like, that's why your titles mean jack.
Well, if they do that, then yeah, it can't work. But if they put him in a meaningful feud with somebody like a Dean Ambrose, so hell, I like Titus O'Neil. I'm gonna just put that out right now. I think that him and Roman Reigns would be a good combination as a little mid-card thing for him to just do something until he gets to the main event spot.
If there was a spear in that match after the 1 minute and 25-second mark, I would be pissed off.
I'll be honest, not to deter from our road that we're on too much. There was one time where I was watching a primetime players match and I saw Titus O'Neil and I was like, okay, I see it. I'm not going to say exactly what I saw, but I saw something. Because one thing that I can't stand is when the announcers, when they're talking about, this guy is so amazing, he has this, he has that, and I'm like, are you looking at the same fucking match I'm looking at? Like, what the hell are you talking about? But they do talk that guy up very frequently, and I don't know what it was, but I saw something. I did.
I see another black guy who's never going to be world champion.
But see, why do you keep going back to the whole world champion thing? Like, you did that with Kofi. You don't have to be a world champion to be a big star.
Kofi should have been a world champion. That he got screwed in 09.
I'll agree, but I mean, there are other guys who got screwed too, but they don't have that kickstand to fall back on.
That the lifelong mid-carder is not a valuable position.
I know it's you know what it is. It's because these mid-card titles don't mean anything anymore, and the mid-card in general doesn't mean anything anymore.
I think it's a different kind of mid-carder though, because look at somebody like Kofi Kingston, Dolph Ziggler. Put them on one side of the room, and put somebody like Cody Rhodes on the other side of the room. Can you honestly sit here and tell me that they are the same type of quote-unquote mid-carder? Because I don't know why it is, but Cody Rhodes has escaped bullshit booking. Not saying that he's been booked perfectly.
He has.
not saying that he's been booked perfectly, but Cody Rhodes is the type of guy, when he gets in the ring with the main eventer, you're not going to be like, oh, he's just going to get his ass kicked. When that happens with Dolph Ziggler, you're like, oh, he's going to get his ass kicked. When it happens with Kofi Kingston, you're like, he's going to get his ass kicked. Cody Rhodes is the perfect mid-carder for WWE because they give that dude his feuds, they give him important stuff to do. That's how a mid-carder should be handled. I don't like what they're doing with Dolph Ziggler and Kofi Kingston because they're like jobbers to the stars. That's what they are. They get their moments to themselves every now and then, and they may throw a championship on them for the hell of it, but they're there for fodder for the main event.
I think that you're right. Cody has really escaped. He's probably Triple H's workout buddy.
It's true that every time he comes out, like if he comes out, like when Kofi Kingston a few weeks ago came out to face Randy Orton, everybody and their mothers were just saying stupid, stupid, stupid. Like that was the whole thing. If Cody Rhodes came out, it's like, oh, this is going to be an entertaining matchup. Let's see where we go here.
And especially with Randy Orton, they have that history, and they put on some really good matches together, too.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite matchups in WWE today.